Once again, I find myself asking, what have I done to be a Padres fan? Like, why do I always get punished being a fan of the San Diego Padres? But as we all worried, the 5-1 homestand at the end of the first half, the thing that made us think that the Padres were playing better baseball was indeed a fluke. They lose 3 out of 4 to the Phillies. They go 1-3 to start the second half. They just do not look any different. You know, inconsistent. Offense doesn't do well sometimes, and the pitching doesn't follow up. The offense and pitching are never on the same page. And the question comes, should the San Diego Padres sell to 2023 trade deadline? And in my opinion, the answer is yes. Because think about it like this. There's guys coming up on contract years. There's guys that are going to probably walk to free agency. There's guys that are probably not going to sign with this team. And if the Padres want any chance to be good in the next couple of years, it's important for us to get some pieces back from players that we have now, because this year is over, all right? I'm not saying it's not impossible for us to make the playoffs this year, but something's going to have to freaking change. And it doesn't look like anything's happening because, you know, the players want to prove to the front office that they should be buyers. That's what they want. They want to be like, you know, we want to prove it to AJ Preller or the front office that we could be buyers, but there's no proof. This team does not look any different than they did in the first half. Yeah, sure, you could say they played the better baseball the last 2 series of the first half, and then they got a nice win in the very first game of this half, and then the crap show of losing 3 games in a row. That, you know, it just doesn't look like this team is playing good baseball whatsoever, and it hasn't looked like that all year. And at the end of the day, we need pieces back for players that we aren't going to re-sign. Josh Hader, Blake Snell, and probably Juan Soto. It's been reported that Juan Soto is unlikely to sign with the San Diego Padres. And the question comes, should we trade Juan Soto? Because here's the thing. His trade value will go down every single day he's not traded. And I like Juan Soto. He's a great player. You know, he's never going to be the same hitter that he was in Washington, unfortunately. He's still always going to be a 900 OPS guy because of the ability to get on base with the walks. But his defense is declining. There's not a doubt in my mind that he's going to become a DH. And he's going to want a lot of money. And, you know, I think he is worth quite a bit of money. You know, he looks like he's going to be a 900 OPS guy for pretty much the rest of his career because of his ability to get on base. He doesn't look like that 40 home run guy. He doesn't look like the guy who can hit 300 anymore. He looks like a 250, 260 batting average guy with a 900 OPS and a horrible defense. And I love Juan Soto, but I don't know if it's the right move to, you know, hang on to him. Yes, we can hang on to him this year, you know, see how next year goes. Maybe we start playing well and we keep him and try to win a World Series with him. Or we could trade him away while his value's at his highest, because if we trade him next year, he's going to have less value because it would only be a rental because he does have another year on his contract after this year. Think about it like that, guys. Players' values go down once they have less time in their contract. You know, Shohei Ohtani, yes, he's a huge player. If he does get traded this trade deadline, he's going to get a huge return, whoever trades for him. But the thing is, it's only half a season. It's pretty much a rental. You know what I mean? That's what the same thing is going to be with Juan Soto if we trade him next season. That's why a lot of people think that we should trade him this year, and I wouldn't be opposed to it, personally. I know it's sad. I know it's Juan Soto. I know I love the guy. He's a good player. But you got to think long-term. You know, if he doesn't want to be part of the core 4, he wants to be his own player, you know, the star somewhere else, you know, that's just him. But it just does not seem like since he's joined the Padres that he's been the same hitter he was in Washington. And at the end of the day, I don't know if it's this right move to hold on to him, you know, any longer. But I want to talk about other guys like Josh Hader and Blake Snell. Josh Hader, one of the best relievers in baseball. He's got like a 1.06 ERA. And the thing is, Josh Hader's going to want quite a bit of money, probably like $80 million. And AJ Preller is good over the Padres, giving terrible contracts to players that just don't deserve it. I'm not saying they're bad players, but giving Xander Bogaerts $280 million, that's a joke. He's probably worth like $160 at most. Giving Jake Cronenworth $80 million, that makes me want to throw up. That's terrible. Yu Darvish $106 million as a 36-year-old through his age 42 season. Like, what are we doing? You know, Blake Snell, he's probably going to get $160 million this offseason. You know, he's got Scott Boras. Here's the thing, though. If we do sell, that is absolutely giving up on this year. And I'm not opposed to that. Because if we could get prospects back, if we can get players to develop, if we can get, you know, players that we could actually turn into good baseball players, like, we're going to be so much better if we could start developing more players. Yes, we could get MLB-ready talent, which is always great. But at the end of the day, I think this organization needs to move in a direction where they try to develop players more. And that's something that we haven't been doing. You know, AJ Preller looks at it like this. Who's been working for what team over the last, 1-2 years? That's why we have Matt Carpenter. You know, it doesn't really work out. Yes, some guys have good years for a team. We sign them and it doesn't work out. That happens all the time. But when are we ever going to develop any players? When are we going to trade players away for once and be smart about the way that we structure this franchise? Try to move in a direction where, yes, if we understand that this year nothing's going to happen, we go for another year. We could trade Juan Soto while his value's at the highest, get a lot of good pieces back. We're not going to get nearly the same return that we got when we traded him to Washington, but still get some good pieces to develop players and also a couple MLB-ready players. You know, we could trade Josh Hader. We could trade Blake Snell to contenders. This team is not a contender. They are a pretender. You know, we thought with the 5-1 homestand and the first half that this team maybe had some fight in them, that maybe they were moving in the right direction. That does not look like the case. The bullpen still sucks. The offense is still inconsistent. Maybe they'll score like 3 runs in an inning and then they'll just go like 7 innings without scoring. This team needs to reset. You know, I don't think that this year is the year. And I think that if we could trade some of our pieces, probably Blake Snell, Josh Hader, maybe even Juan Soto, it'd be smarter for the future of this franchise to grab more players to develop, grab more players and top prospects, and grab maybe even a couple MLB-ready players, players in MLB, players that have proved themselves. Because at the end of the day, if we're not going to win this season, hanging on to these guys is only going to hurt us. Can you imagine if we hang on to Blake Snell and Josh Hader? You know, obviously nothing really gets any better. We don't make the playoffs, and then they walk in free agency and somebody else grabs them. Same thing with Juan Soto. Yes, the argument is, if we want to win in 2024, you might want Juan Soto. But if he's unlikely to sign here, you might as well just move him now while his value's at his highest with another year in his contract after the rest of the season and grab some good pieces back. I just can't really imagine AJ Preller trying to sell at a deadline. You know, I just never see the guy doing it. You know, he's always going after these big players. He's always going after big contracts. He's always overpaying to make sure he gets players. So I don't even know if Preller would do it. Maybe he's too prideful. But I want to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Because my final opinion is, if this year isn't the year, we need to structure and get ready for other years. And that starts with trading some of our big players that are free agents out of this year. Maybe even Juan Soto. You know, I love Soto, I love Hader, I love Snell, but at the end of the day, if we're not contending this year and we can get pieces to help restructure and help kind of bring back this franchise, I think it's the smart move. But let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you yet to do so. Give the video a like and turn on the post notification bell. If you guys like Padres baseball and baseball in general, this is the place to be. But for now, that's it for me. Stay safe, everybody. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yo, now trick what Mace who? They ain't what Mace do. Got a lot of girls that'll love to replace you. Tell it to your face.